Hi, this is Tim Guy here to talk about my individual differences and some of the things that make me unique as a learner, and some things that have kind of worked for me, didn't work for me, and some things to think about moving forward. First off, I want to talk about some things that make me unique as a learner. I am actually a pretty strange learner, pretty strange student. Some of the things I've kind of learned about myself over the years. Number one is that I am an audio learner. If you kind of go to that more traditional, are you an audio learner, a visual learner, hands on, all that sort of stuff? I'm the rare person who likes to listen to people talk, have people show me things. That sort of strategy works really well for me. And I do learn from hands-on and visual as well, but I'm mainly an audio learner, which is very unique. When I hear teachers say, "Oh, I don't want to lecture at the kids. I want to make sure they do an activity." In my head, I'm the opposite person. I want to just hear a story being told or hear that sort of thing, and that's one of the best ways that I learn. Another thing is that I'm very technology driven as a learner. I'm not a paper and pencil person. If I want to write something down, I'd much rather type it. If I'm reading something, I'd much rather read it on an iPad or a computer as opposed to in a book. I don't know why, but my brain just works better when I'm involving technology. Except for with math, that's the one time, and that's what I teach. So it's a little weird, but with math, I like pencil and paper because of the ease of fixing your mistakes. But there's just something about writing, I think, it's almost easier to fix your mistakes on a computer and to think about what you're writing when you're typing. And the last thing that kind of makes me unique as a learner is that I tend to think of myself as a jack of all trades, but a master of none. In school, I was very interested in a lot of different disciplines, such as the arts, music. I was interested in math, obviously, as a math teacher, social studies, science. There's just a lot of things I was interested in. I never was somebody, I always did well in everything, but there never was that one thing that was my thing. I definitely even now have students who math is their thing and they like crush every single math test they ever take. And, in other subjects, they do okay in, but that's their thing. Whereas for me, I really liked a whole lot of things. And when I decided to become a math teacher, it was more just because that was the thing I probably liked the best, but not necessarily that I didn't like those other things. I could easily see myself as a social studies teacher, a teacher of a different subject. Some of the things that have been really positive on my learning because of some of the unique things about myself is cross content. I really like when in social studies classes in high school we would do math in them, and then we would do like an art project in science, maybe talking about different biology things. I remember in high school we had to make a big poster on the energy cycle with um, I can't remember, but metabolism and stuff. And it was just really interesting to me. And I really got into that and really learned a lot about that subject. Also, doing presentations and involving technology in that, some multimedia things. In Spanish, I still remember we were learning vocabulary about food, and I got to make a flash video where I had like a penguin eating ice cream and just all this kind of ridiculous stuff. And that really got me into the content because I was able to kind of show some of the technology I was interested in and really be able to dig into that. Some things that I've seen not be positive on me is actually like no direct instruction. A lot of teachers I think that good instruction is when they don't do anything. And while some people have kind of talked about that where it's like, oh, you want the students to do all the work, you don't want to do any of the work. And I agree with that. I think we can tend to go a little too far in that direction and kind of be like, hey, you guys just figure it out. And me as an audio learner, I need somebody telling me a little bit of something, and kind of hearing that before I can kind of move on. What I try to do with my students is I have it very much the student centered, students to everything, but I will give them kind of like the leading off point, or hey, here's a little skill I show you. Now, can you take it to the next step? And that way, the audio learners and people, they kind of get that kind of direction to go and they get some of that part. And then they also have some of that critical thinking that goes on top of that. And I think whenever you just say, hey, go at it, that never worked for me. And I don't know if that works for kids now. Also, kind of strict content. What I mean by that is just like, hey, we're a math class. We only do math. You never see any sort of cross content going on where you're bringing on skills from other things. And I think that's always been a big detriment to me because I'm that jack of all trades person. I like to show off the different things I can do, especially when I draw upon those different intelligences. So what do digital learners need? What do we need to do in this digital environment that we live in? I think number one is differentiation, which sounds really easy, but how do we do that? How do we make sure that kids get the unique things that they need so we can meet their individual learning skills and draw upon those learning intelligence for them? And really, I think it's just creative instruction, being able to come up with activities that involve students maybe doing different jobs where the parts and the different things that they do kind of add up to a bigger project that you're looking for, or just have things that kind of attract different learners, like I talked about with the maybe having something that's exploratory for students, but you kind of lead them off a little bit to kind of give the students who need a little more direction with that. Or when you're doing a digital presentation, having a voiceover or having sort of like a highlighted thing to help students who need those skills. So I think that the digital age is a great time for people to be learning, and we can really draw upon the advances that technology gives us to kind of meet those students' needs. Thank you for watching.